I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
But I also hope we are pushing the other direction, that one day we don't have to talk about these first, that one day this is just, and I listen to this, that this is the human history. It's about human history. It's the story of humanity.
Christ said in response to what was the greatest command, that it was to love God with all that you are. He also, being a great teacher, said the second is equal to it, and that is to love your neighbor as yourself. And to all of you down there on Earth and around Earth, we love you from the moon.
Artemis II will be the first time we put humans on this rocket.
We're going back to the moon because it's the next step in our journey to Mars.
We were always going to the moon.
Pushing ourselves to explore is just core to who we are. That's a part of being a human.
And liftoff. We shall return.
Continuing to test out every bit of Orion.
Coming back to Earth, 7 miles a second.
When humanity sets big goals, we can bring together genius from around the world.
You have the best people on planet Earth putting this vehicle together. That's what's up.
To innovate for the benefit of humanity and to inspire the world through discovery.
And here we go.
All right, as you all know, the Artemis II is on his way back from the moon, and the crew just went around the moon, and they've successfully done that, and they are on their way back from the moon to planet Earth. Isn't that beautiful? Like when you look at it and you just think about it, like right now we have some humans right there in space, and they just visited the moon. They just went around the moon, and we saw it live on camera right from Earth here, and we see them moving around. This is historic. Like the last time this happened was 54 years ago, when the Apollo 11 went, and they went around, and of course they landed. We knew they landed, and they came back successfully, which was huge. And that was the last time human has gone to the moon. And this is the the first time since 54 years that humans have traveled to the moon. And it's beautiful and it's interesting because this time around there are a lot of other historic things that are happening, because for the first time we have a woman going to the moon. Like for the first time a woman is part of the crew of astronauts going on this mission. And of course we have the first black person, the first African American person, man or woman, to visit the moon. Of course there have been several African American men and women who have been to space, but this is the first time someone who is a African American person is going to be traveling beyond the lower Earth orbit, and also traveling towards the moon, or even visiting the moon, piloting around the moon. And the crazy part about this, and the most interesting part about this, is that the pilot of this particular spacecraft, the Artemis II mission, the pilot for the Orion spacecraft is a black man. Isn't that funny? And this just reminds me of this nasty and racist comment made by how do I even describe him now? This racist white nationalist activist that is the champion and the hero of the MAGA movement in the US, Charlie Kirk. God rest his soul. I will still say that because I'm a Christian, even though I don't really like him when he was alive, and I still don't like him. But God rest his soul, is dead now, and he was assassinated last year. In open field, live on camera, everybody saw it, and he was killed by some of the people that he must have offended. But that's aside. We don't want to talk about why he's dead or who killed him. But this is just the irony of it, the irony of it, because this guy was saying nasty things about black people, saying, because he was trying to defend the reason why DEI should be scrapped, right? Because for those who don't know what DEI means, it means diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's a policy that was promoted by the Democrats, by the other side of the aisle, in the U.S., by the Democratic Party in the U.S., which will give room for more diversity, inclusion, and equality in workplaces, in government, in sports, everywhere, which it's going to make sure that minorities are not being left out in all these areas. In workplaces, it's going to give more opportunities to minorities like black people in the US, because we know black people are still the minority in the US. Women in workplaces, a lot of women are still being left out and not being handed opportunities because they are women, right? And especially this happens to a lot of black people in the US. They would rather give it to someone else instead of giving it to a black person, right? And also like a woman, like for example, the US should have had a woman as a president, but during the last Trump's election, a woman was the one who contested against him. That was Hillary Clinton, and the American people decided to vote for Trump instead of a woman. Hillary Clinton was way more qualified than him, of course, we know. I mean, this is someone who has served in government, and he was the U.S. secretary, and Trump didn't even have any political experience, but they would prefer to have Trump in power than having Hillary Clinton, who is way more experienced than Trump, right? All because she's a woman. Same thing happened in 2024. Americans would prefer to bring back someone they voted out because he was incompetent. They brought him back instead of voting for a woman, and especially a black woman in Kamala Harris. So, we've seen a lot of issues where, just normal things where women who are qualified should be given the opportunity because they are qualified, not because they are a woman. Just because they are qualified, they should have gotten it because they are qualified, but they wouldn't get it because they are not a man, and not just any man, a white man. And I think it's so deep in America because I think women even have it even way worse, because Americans would even actually prefer a black man over a white woman. You get what I'm trying to say? Because we saw like they elected a black man who is Obama, which is also like, after a long time, America is over 250 years, and that's just the only person who is even a little bit of black, because Obama is not even full black. It's like black, white. But not to make this video too much about race. So DI was brought to make sure that there are a lot of diversity, inclusion, and equality or equity in workplace, in government, in politics, in sports. And it's been working. We've seen a lot of people rise to where they should be because of this policy. And of course, everyone is not going to like this. The Republican Party, especially the MAGA movement, was totally against it because they believe this country is a white country. The white men, especially, should be the ones in power. They should be the one taking over everything, And this guy, Charlie Kirk, was at the forefront of it, and he was hiding under Christianity, which is what even angers me the more, because I feel like he's just using the Christianity as an umbrella to popularize this idea of white nationalism. He goes around campuses trying to say, "Oh yeah, come and argue with me. I'm coming here with fact." But he doesn't go anywhere with just facts. He doesn't even sometimes it's even wrong. He doesn't even go there with facts. He only goes there with racism and with racist comments, racist remarks about people, black people, women, LGBTQ community, anyone that he doesn't just agree with. He goes there with nasty comments about them, saying he's just stating facts, that the numbers don't lie, the facts don't lie. But sometimes there are some things that shouldn't be said because they're not totally true. You're just looking at it from your own perspective, and if you always believe your own perspective is always right, you're not gonna go too far, you know. And now he's dead. I mean, I'm not happy he's dead. I'm just saying, you know, people like that don't last, and we just see what happened to him. So, you know, I would play a video of him making a comment. Let's watch this video of him making a comment about black people, saying if he sees a black pilot, it will wonder if he's qualified because he's black. Because he's trying to say that if he sees a black pilot, he will be scared, thinking, oh, is he there because he's qualified or is there because he's just a black person? I mean, isn't that crazy to even think about? Who would think that? Because you would believe that anyone who is made a pilot drive a plane with passengers inside and not just a training session is actually qualified and not there because they are white or black. Any normal or sane human being will think that way and think, okay, this person is driving this plane because they are qualified, not because they are white or black. When I see a pilot, I don't even look at the color of the pilot. I just believe, oh, this person must have been trained. You know, he must have gone through a lot to be sitting there and not me. Why am I not the one sitting there? Why is this white person behind me not sitting in front driving us? It's because that white person didn't train as a pilot. And the black person driving us or piloting the plane is a trained pilot. So why should I think, oh, because he's black, is he qualified? That's the way the guy was thinking. I mean, imagine what he was saying in this video.
And that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now thinking about that. No, I mean, like,
you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Can you imagine that? It's just crazy the way some people think, right? It's crazy the way some people think. And the irony of this is that there have been several crashes and there have been several incidents of pilots who have crashed planes. And this is not because of some mistake or whatever. This is just some negligence on the part of the pilot. And most of them have been white. You know, there was this video that went viral, you know, some time ago about this white pilot that was high on mushroom and, you know, almost crashed the plane because he woke up while he was asleep and he just decided to turn off the engine of the plane while still in motion. Like, how crazy can you be to be high on mushroom and still be allowed to fly a plane? How crazy is that? And the crazy part is that this guy didn't even do prison time for what he did, you know. This is a video of it. Let's watch this. All right, so let's watch it.
Hey!
What's going on? Horizon, we need to make an emergency landing.
I'm sorry, who was that?
That's Horizon 2059. We've got a jump seater. Just try to shut our engines off. We need to go direct to Portland now.
Throttle.
Officer Adams?
Yeah.
Do you believe in forgiveness? I mean, I want to be accountable, but am I going to be forgiven for being so stupid?
Yeah, I think so.
There's a feeling of being trapped. Like, am I trapped in this airplane and now I'll never go home? There was always that feeling of not really being in the present moment, and I need to wake up, essentially wake up from this experience. This is not real. I need to wake up. There are two red handles in front of my face, thinking that I was going to wake up, thinking this is my way to get out of this unreal reality. I reached up and I grabbed and I pulled the levers.
Did you know what the levers were at the time?
What I thought is, this is going to wake me up. I know what those levers do in a real airplane, right? And I need to wake up from this.
So actually what happened was that he was in the pilot, you know, he was in the front seat with the pilot, you know, piloting the plane. He himself is a pilot also. And he was high on mushrooms. as evidence was found, and he was sleeping. And while he was sleeping, he eventually, he suddenly woke up, and they thought he was dreaming. According to him, like you heard, he thought he was dreaming, and he woke up and he saw two levers in front of him, and he just shut it off. All of a sudden, while the plane was still moving, and the pilot was so shocked, like, what's going on? This man was gonna crash the plane, and that was when you heard him calling, the towers and say, "Oh, we have an issue. We have to have an emergency landing and all that." And this guy did this and was sentenced to like 50 days in jail. Like, are you kidding me right now? 50 days in prison. This man should have gone to 50 years in prison for what he did. But it was, talk about white privilege. But I mean, this is just to show you this is a white pilot, right? High on mushrooms, got into a plane, was allowed to get into a plane when they've not even checked to make sure he's fine, and was about to crash a lot of people. And I'm sure there have been several incidents of white pilots that have crashed planes here and there. But that's not even the case right now, because I don't want to focus too much on race. But when you look at the contrast of Charlie Cook talking about, if he sees a black person piloting a plane, he will think, I hope he's qualified. I mean, the racism, the racism, and it's just so sad that kind of person is the person is some people's hero, and when they died, they were like, "Oh, he's the next thing to slice bread." Come on, this guy was a racist. I don't want to call him names, but he was a racist. Simple as that. For him to be saying stuff, a lot of stuff he said about women and stuff like that. And also another funny thing was even the comments he made about, I don't know, let me see if I have that video. He made a comment about Nicki Minaj. I mean, he was saying something about Nicki Minaj's kind of influence on young people, that she has negative influence on young people, all because she's a hip hop musician, a rapper, right? And he was someone who hates anything black, so hip hop was also against hip hop, and he felt Nicki Minaj was a bad influence. I'm not a fan of Nicki Minaj. Also, I'm sure there's something that she does that I don't like also, but the irony of it is that after he died, this said Nicki Minaj was invited by his organization, because that was his organization that he created, and of course was taken over by his wife when he died. And that organization invited the same Nicki Minaj that this Charlie Cook was rubbishing at his events in those campuses. The same Nicki Minaj was invited to inspire the young people at one of their events, one of their Turning Point events, which is crazy. Like, I mean, the irony of it. Let's watch this video. Let's watch the video. Let me just show you this. Someone did a compilation of, comparison of both clips. I mean, the audacity. Like, who? Nicki
Minaj, Cardi B. Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home. I don't think that.
I mean, he's talking about dads leaving the home, as these are the reasons why black kids are turning out to be aggressive and all that, or being violent, or causing, being involving in crime and all that, as if there are no black kids that didn't grow up with their dads that have turned out well. A lot of successful black celebrities in America didn't even grow up with their fathers, and they turned out well, and because they had great moms that were strong and took care of them. I mean, the guy was just so ridiculous. He was talking. I mean, the audacity, like, who made him the mouth speaker to talk about what is right for black girls or not? Him talking, I don't think this person is a good role model for black girls. And just the irony of this. Let me let you guys watch the video.
Nicki Minaj, Cardi B. Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home. I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old black girls. I don't think that songs that are talking about, like, glorifying wet female genitalia. That's
Nicki Minaj at his event. And that's his wife beside Nicki Minaj. Like you saw it up. You can't make this shit up, which is crazy. I mean, it was just, talking about how Nicki Minaj can be a good role model for black girls. And now that same Nicki Minaj was brought to talk to white girls and white male men. As his wife said. I know a lot of people understand what I'm trying to say, male man.
Don't let anyone disenfranchise you because you're a young man, especially a young white male man. Don't ever let anyone talk down to you. We need strong men out there.
Have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country. America is built on their backs. Yes, because they are the ones who mattered most.
That was his wife saying, talking about, white men in America. He was calling them male men. Anyway, it's just, that's just to let you understand that who the guy was when he was alive. And this is the same guy that was saying that if he sees a black pilot, he would think, oh, I hope he's qualified. Like, it's just pure racism. Because we all know that there are a lot of, if before a white person, before a black person in America can even be made a pilot of any airplane, that means that black person is probably overqualified. You get the point I'm trying to make, because they don't really give opportunity to any person that is black, especially in higher positions like leading an organization, being president of the United States, like as we've seen, so around 50 years and just one black president. Does that mean there have not been a lot of black people that are qualified to be president? Of course not. The white people all those white racists might want to tell you that it's because there have not been black person that is qualified to be president. But we all know that is a lie. Before Obama, there have been several people that could be president. You can't tell me that Martin Luther King was not qualified to be president, for example. At least that's someone that is very popular that everybody knew. It's not as if they were former president that he wasn't better than. So the fact that they've not been a black president in America doesn't mean there are not qualified black people or black men to be president in the United States. So the fact that after 250 years, just one black person, have been president, tells you a lot about, America. So if you see a black person piloting a plane, in fact, the contrary opinion is that when I see a black person piloting a plane, I feel more relaxed because I would know that black person must be way more qualified for him to be given that opportunity to be piloting a plane. I mean, this takes me to the story of the pilot of this spacecraft called the Orion spacecraft that has taken the Artemis II crew to the moon for the first time. It's the last time humans went to the moon. The pilot of the spacecraft is a black man. A black man who was born on April 30, 1976 in Pomona, California. And this man is a U.S. Navy captain, a test pilot, and a NASA astronaut. He was selected in 2013. So, he's known for piloting both the SpaceX Crew Dragon, the Orion spacecraft on the Artemis II, and, he's a Christian. And, both parents are, African American. I think the father is African American. The mom is a Caribbean American. Caribbeans are also Africans. So, both parents are Africans by origin. And he's a black person, and is the pilot of this plane. And this is not to just dabble around race and make all this thing about race. And, this is just to inspire young people, especially black, young boys, who also inspired to to do this, because this is to inspire people and young people to dream high. I know Nigerians, we dream big a lot. We don't let anything limit us. We don't think there is something we cannot do. We always believe if this person can do it, whether he's white, Asian, or what or not, we can also do it. If they can do it, it's not even about whether he's black or not. If they can do it, I can do it too. So, but especially black men in America, or black young boys in America, this is to inspire them and let them know that they can also do it. And even the man himself have this to say when he was being asked about the fact that he's the first African American to go this far from Earth and also going to the moon and all that. This is what he has to say.
I love that, but I also hope we are pushing the other direction, that one day we don't have to talk about these first, that one day this is just, and I listen to this, that this is the human history. It's about human history. It's the story of humanity, not black history, not women's history, but that it becomes human history. I love.
Exactly. Sometimes when they say, oh, this person is the first black person to do this, first woman to do this, even as much as I want to say it, like I'm doing now, to inspire people, I hope one day we'll be able to move past first black person to do this, first woman to do this, and we'll just be able to see it as first human to do this, and we can just leave it as first human to do this. And where we have, I hope we can live in a world where everyone is equal. Everyone is allowed the same opportunity, and everyone is not denied opportunity that is desired, or that is that they are qualified for, or because they are black people, or they are women, or we should be able to move past all that and live in a world where everyone is equal and you can get whatever you deserve just because you are qualified for it. Humanity is achieving this trip to the moon right now because of the coming together of a lot of people from different backgrounds. If you go to the NASA headquarters and the situation room and everything, you see a lot of people there. In fact, you even see more women, which is crazy, because before now we don't even have more women working in those kind of areas. Now we have more women working there, and they are the ones working behind the scenes, talking to them, communications and all that. And we have a lot of people from different races, from Asia, from Africa, we have someone even from Canada in this particular trip, as one of the astronauts, not just Americans, and we have people from different parts of the world. And they were able to achieve this because a lot of people came together because of the diversity amongst them. So it is not about race. It shouldn't be about race. People should be given level playing ground, and let's see if we won't be able to achieve more that way. I mean, isn't it obvious? After 54 years, this is the first time that humanity will be trying this again. So it just tells you when we come together, we can achieve a lot together. We can go farther when we come together. And I hope this just inspires a lot of people, a lot of young people, black, white, brown, whatever color you are, to dream big, and also think that one day you'll also be there when humanity lands on other planets in the universe. Just like they've said, this trip is just to test humanity's ability to to dream big and expand into the universe. After landing on the moon, the next plan is to land on Mars, So, and I hope this is going to be possible. It's going to be some interesting 2 or 3 years from now, because after this trip to moon, the next one is going to be to Mars, So these people just went to check the moon and see what is going on there, especially places that have not been seen before around the moon. And now they are going to come back with what they've discovered, and some new set of people will go and they will land on the moon. And this time around, they are not just going there to land and just land for landing's sake. They are going to stay humans are going to stay on the moon. This is going to be very interesting, and I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited to see this, and I'm so lucky, and we are also lucky to be alive at this particular moment in time. This is the feeling I'm sure the people that were alive during the Apollo 11 time was feeling, to see that, oh, holy shit, like humanity is living, humans are living head to another planet, and that's the same kind of feeling that we are having right now. Especially, I'm sure it's going to even be more exciting when the next set of astronauts go to the moon to actually land again for the second time since the Apollo 11 crew. And I'm sure we'll all be alive to witness that. And after that, we're going to Mars. So, and I know that's another story entirely. I'm sure a lot of people have said it's not possible for humans to do that, but there's nothing impossible if you put our mind to it. This is exactly what these people have just shown us. I'm sure a lot of people would say this is not possible for humans to go around the moon, right? But they just did it. They just showed us. Of course, we know there are some people who are still denying that all this is real. Some people still believe this is some trick or something, which is crazy, because how do you deny this? How? I mean, let me show you guys a clip. There's a clip I saw of a family or a couple that was in the airplane. They were in an airplane, I think a United Airlines airplane, when these people took off, when this rocket took off into space. I mean, this is just some random people who saw this happen live. In this era of social media where things can easily be recorded, and if there was any lie being told, people would easily come out and say, oh, I just discovered this. They are lying to us. And some people are still doubting it. Let me show you guys this video. All right, so this is it. Let me read what the person that posted it wrote on the description. The person said, I'm a musician. While returning home from vacation in Saint, whatever, to celebrate the release of his first single, I heard the pilot tell the passengers to look out the right side of the plane to view the launch in 6 minutes. My husband Justin and I were lucky to be sitting at the right side. Even luckier that that the launch was delayed by 10 minutes. So we heard that the launch was delayed by 10 minutes because there was some technical issues that they quickly had to fix, and they were even thinking maybe they weren't going to launch, but eventually they launched and they fixed it. So it was delayed for 10 minutes. So this person is saying they were able to like really prepare for it, take out their cameras and everything, giving us the perfect angle. So we celebrated humanity's achievement with all of our fellow passengers. You can hear us all losing our minds, with excitement in this video. So let's watch the video.
Look. It's happening. Way over there, look. A red dot. Oh my gosh. That's so cool. Can you see okay, Justin?
Look at it just living. And it's moving really fast that way. You might be thinking it's slow, but it's moving really fast. Look at that.
There's the first stage.
Oh, I can see it. I can see it separating. Wow,
Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? I mean, it's just so crazy that some people are still doubting this. Some people that don't even know anything, they can't even put one or two together, and they are doubting, this kind of stuff. Like, what are you doing? For those people that are doubting that humans actually landed on the moon, or all this, traveling to the moon is even fake, like, is it even real, or because you think it's impossible? Neil deGrasse Tyson has something for you.
People who are sure we did not land on the moon, and they looked at the photos of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin in daylight, and they say, we know you're supposed to see stars in daylight, and I don't see any stars in this photo.
Right.
Okay, so therefore we didn't really go to the moon. As though NASA wouldn't know to fake that, if that were the case. We think NASA are idiots?
That kind of makes a lot of sense. If you know that, well, then we, the space
never,
people, definitely know
that.
too.
Definitely know it
So
too.
why wouldn't we just throw a little dots in the back and let you see some stars?
Okay, what the person doesn't know is how photography works. Okay, the terrain is so bright from the sun,
right?
The aperture of the camera closes down and cannot register the light of dim things such as the stars in the sky.
Exactly.
So that's how that plays out.
There you go.
That's why in the day, during the day, you don't see stars in the sky in the day because of light, So I don't understand how some people would. That's their argument of why this is not real. Like, come on, we can do better. But anyway, I hope this inspired a lot of people. I hope this has inspired you. And congratulations to the whole crew, the captain, the pilot, the first woman, and the person from Canada. This is just an amazing crew, because it's not just about the all white man or white woman or all black person. It's the captain is a white man, the pilot is a black man, there's a woman in there, there's someone from Canada who's not even an American. It is just beautiful. We are all one people, and that is exactly what even the pilot said when they were in space, because he said when they were looking at the planet Earth from the space, they saw just one people. They didn't say whites, black, African, Europeans, Asians. They saw the Earth. We are inhabitants of this planet, this spaceship hanging in the air called the Earth, right? So all this craziness about, I'm white, I'm black, I'm African, you're just in your own head. You're just making yourself happy. Think, I'm black, I'm white. Come on, man. We are all humans, and we are all inhabitants of this beautiful planet that God has blessed us with. Imagine we being in this planet, and we can exist. We can build stuff. We can make use of different things that God has blessed us with. We have water, we have trees that grow, we have animals that live with us, we have several human, living things that live with us, And you just saw the other planet, the moon, and we saw that it's just some solid rock hanging in the air, and maybe there's still gonna be a lot of discoveries. I think they said they discovered some ice or something on some part of the moon, but the fact still remains that God has really blessed us. Our planet even has like a firmament, the atmosphere that covers it, and stops anything from penetrating to really attack us. We are so blessed. We just need to really appreciate the nature and what God has blessed us with the more, and appreciate ourselves and see that we can go far if we really unite. And I hope we've been inspired. Anyway, thank you so much. My name is Femi Oguntayo. Make sure you click like on this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.